Shalom, all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Harakakadash, double honors to other apostles, great most on it, rule well, and Shalom to the brothers in the wax, sharing truth. Um, Interesting little article here on Substack from Ken Clipperstein. He's basically talking about a bill that's been passed where funding's basically been put into the FBI having, a pre-crime center, which, that goes back to, it was really popularized by Minority Report, the Tom Cruise film. And it's been something that, being able to utilize, technology, even spiritual means and whatnot to basically see, is someone gonna commit this crime? You know, in that film, it was. I think at the start, it was like some geezer about to shank his girlfriend or something, and then you got Tom Cruise bussing. So they're kind of that's the wet dream. But it says what FBI's new political pre-crime center. It says President Donald Trump's budget request to Congress contains the largest counter T spending increase in years, and buries inside it a new FBI-led center dedicated to proactively hunting Americans the government classifies as so-called domestic T's. The new center and funding boost represents the implementation of Trump's National Security Presidential Memorandum 7, the sweeping federal order I've been covering since it was signed last September. Though public opposition to IS succeeded at forcing the administration to back down in Minnesota, even firing both Kristi Noem and Gregory Bovino, the FBI is doubling down its domestic T obsession. And the thing is, as far as for IS, it's just, in one town. They've already done work, and it's just there. And the thing is the framework's there, the legal framework's there for where it's basically, but they've been executing on it. What the hell are you gonna do? It says now Trump's budget request reveals the FBI runs a dedicated NSPM 7 Joint Mission Center with personnel from 10 federal agencies. It is busy proactively identifying domestic T motivated by any of the following beliefs. So anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, anti-Christianity. It's funny as well because it's like even with this, like it expands so much that you could put pretty much anyone you wanted in these categories. So anti-Americanism, and the thing obviously I'm thinking when these things are being defined is this can be used against brothers because saying America's going to be destroyed by nuclear missiles, then that sounds anti-American, and then even anti-Christianity. You say Yahweh Shai, who the world calls Jesus Christ, so-called black man. That's against the the white Jesus. So it's just and then support for the overthrow of the U.S. government, extremism on migration, race, and gender, which what does that even mean? Hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family, hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on religion, and hostility towards those who hold traditional views on morality. And that last one is like traditional views on morality. I'm like, bro, it's like you can broaden these things to introduce any and everything. So it says, in other words, if your political views are practically anything other than MAGA, you're on notice courtesy of the FBI. And reading on it says a new center combats these supposed threats by integrating intelligence, operational support, and financial analysis. The budget request says Its creation appears to be inspired by the murder of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk, an event that reportedly precipitated the formulation of NSPM 7 in the first place, according to the budget request, which alludes to heinous assassinations having dramatically increased. So the other interesting part is the budget request also singled out social media as a kind of breeding ground for domestic tea, saying domestic teas exploit a large variety of popular social media platforms, and that's where I'm just thinking, yeah. So obviously, famine of the word, YouTube, them limitations on what can be said, what can be posted, it's already being enacted, even more so in like the UK. But then in the States, it's been like they've already done that as well underneath Biden. They functionally had it where you're saying you're doing anything, you're getting clipped, and then even till now, you still get those little you mentioned certain things, you'll get those little blue like text box underneath the video saying, "Oh, this about this topic, blah blah blah." Because whenever you do a video, they have like you know tech, AI, whatever that goes through the video, and then they'll what's it called, a transcript. They'll make a transcript of what you're saying, so they can just tag for certain words, certain phrases, certain terms, these things. So as far as locking these things down, it's been, the framework's there. It's just a matter of executing on it. But I think more than anything, they're kind of saying that, oh, we're just going to utilize whatever's being posted online, and then come at people. So this is what smaller websites with targeted audiences and encrypted chat applications, they use these platforms to recruit new adherents. I think Telegram's one of those as well, because I think Telegram's made to be like encrypted, so it's functionally can't be cracked into. But then I also heard the guy who made it being threatened with backdoors. But then we'll see. A lot of these things, there'll be backdoors. You might know about them, you might not. But yeah. So it says, disseminate materials encouraging radicalization and mobilization to violence. Good thing millions of law-abiding Americans don't use those. In his testimony to Congress, the other important part as well, is FBI Director Kash Patel said that he would investigate every single person on the Discord channels used by accused killer Tyler Robinson, but leaked screenshots. Wait. Where's the other? There was. Have a turn to go past it. To run down, later conclude. Evidence for it. What's it say? So I was ever say how much FPS looks like. Blah. No, there was something. What was it? Oh no, freezing question including those for. Just so I can hear the politics. It's having dramatically increased. Oh yeah. Yeah, so it says back up a bit further up. It says the new center combats these supposed threats by integrating intelligence, operational support, and financial analysis. And yeah, the financial analysis, that's a big part of what what will come in as well, because away even with what's it called, with like crypto, there was like the Binance guy that got thrown in jail and then got pardoned by Trump. He got thrown in jail because he was meant to have been like circumventing by facilitating people being able to like sell crypto or buy crypto of and trade it around. He's facilitating circumventing embargoes and whatnot on different nations and different groups for their ability to make money. So, they can kind of go into the financials and then freeze in accounts, stopping you being able to spend money, these things. And then, of course, when you got into that mark, that's the financials always an aspect. And that's something that's going to be developed on. People are kind of looking at, it's just going to, just be this. It's just like the financials, a big part of Esau's power. That's a big part of his strength, of how, he maintains that grip. So it's going to be social media it mentions. It's obviously YouTube, what brothers are using, to put the word out. And then as well the financial side of it, the monetary side. People are going to be supremely, what do you call it? The monetary side. Putting the squeeze. Because if your bank accounts get frozen, you can't use credit cards, whatever, that's going to be a huge amount of pressure. These pressures, it's all leading to that mark, man. So I read this, Revelation 12:12, it says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time." Yeah? Devil's coming down with great wrath, because he knows he has a short time. And that's really what, as far as what's going on in the Middle East, the war of Iran, the Strait of Hormuz, back and forth, and how, like, cartoonish or, like, surreal that whole interaction is going. It's such a supreme distraction. It's like a lot of these, wouldn't even have thought about, funding that was passed for the FBI. What's going on with, like, the big news for a minute was ICE. Everyone's talking about ICE. Obviously, the Epstein files came out as well. There was ICE, blowing away, innocent white women, the apple of Esau's eye for at a time. Now they're just getting blown away, which is crazy, but it's like, what? Everything's cranking up. Because why? It's all coming to a head. And, whilst everyone's focused over there, then, laws getting passed. Even if, it's being reported in the news, who's really looking? So it was a Substack that was talking about that. It's like, you'd have to go out and you'd have to know this guy, know what he covers, to kind of go and find these things. Ain't as much. You're just gonna go on like CNN or Fox News, and they gonna be talking about them things. But yeah, I'll leave it there. Just a quick update, man. Shalom, shalom.